The vast expanse of space stretched out before the Galactic Council's orbital station, a testament to the grand scale of their authority. Within the station's crystalline walls, representatives from 100 different species gathered for what promised to be a momentous occasion. At the center of it all stood High Counselor Zixnera, her iridescent scales shimmering under the soft blue light of the chamber. Esteemed colleagues, Zixnera's melodious voice resonated through the room. We stand at a crossroads in our shared history. The discovery of the Deathworlder species known as humans has presented us with both great opportunity and grave concern. A murmur rippled through the assembled aliens. Some chittered nervously, others pulsed with bioluminescent curiosity. The term Deathworlder carried weight in galactic society, referring to species that evolved on planets so inhospitable that most aliens considered them uninhabitable. Zixnera continued, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence. We have observed these humans from afar, witnessing their rapid technological advancement and their unique approach to problem solving. It is time we determine whether they pose a threat to galactic stability or if they could become valuable allies. General Kraz, a hulking insectoid with mandibles that clicked irritably, stepped forward. High Counselor, with all due respect, we cannot risk allowing such an unpredictable species into our ranks. Their homeworld alone is a nightmare of environmental extremes, and yet they thrive there, which is precisely why we must test them. Zixnera countered smoothly. I propose we subject a group of human cadets to our most grueling survival challenge. The crucible of Senvora has broken the will of our greatest warriors. If the humans can survive it, perhaps they are worthy of our consideration. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices, some supporting the idea, others vehemently opposing it. Admiral Lumen, a being of pure energy contained within a hovering orb, pulsed brightly. And what if they succeed? What then? Zixnera's lip tendrils curled into what passed for a smile among her species. Then, my dear Admiral, we will have no choice but to acknowledge their potential and open diplomatic channels. As the Council debated, far away on Earth, a group of young human cadets were about to receive the surprise of their lives. Captain Sarah Chen stood before her squad, her dark eyes scanning the eager faces of the newest recruits to the United Earth Space Force. They were a diverse group, representing the best and brightest from every corner of the planet. Listen up, cadets. Sarah's voice cut through the excited chatter. I just received word from command. We've been selected for a special mission. Cadet Alejandro Rodriguez, a wiry young man with a mischievous glint in his eye, couldn't contain his excitement. Is it first contact, Captain? Are we finally meeting the aliens? Sarah allowed herself a small smile. In a manner of speaking, Cadet Rodriguez, we've been invited to participate in what the Galactic Council calls the Crucible of Senvora. It's some kind of survival challenge. Survival challenge, echoed Cadet Yuki Tanaka, her brow furrowing. Like a space camping trip. Not quite, Sarah replied, her tone growing serious. From what little information we've been given, this challenge is designed to push participants to their absolute limits. It's a test of not just physical endurance, but mental resilience and problem-solving skills. Cadet Marcus Green, a towering figure with a gentle demeanor, raised his hand. Captain, why us? Why not send seasoned veterans? Sarah's expression hardened slightly. Because, Cadet Green, this isn't just a test for us. It's a test for all of humanity. The Galactic Council wants to see what we're made of, and they've chosen to evaluate us through our youngest and most adaptable members. A hushed silence fell over the group as the weight of their responsibility settled in. They weren't just representing themselves, or even the United Earth Space Force. They were representing their entire species. Now, Sarah continued, her voice taking on a note of determination. I know this sounds daunting, but I've seen what each of you is capable of. You're the best Earth has to offer, and I have full confidence in your abilities. Cadet Zara Okoro, her dark skin contrasting with the stark white of her uniform, spoke up. "What exactly will we be facing, Captain?" Sarah shook her head. "Unknown. The challenge is designed to be unpredictable. We'll be going in blind, with only basic survival gear. But remember your training. Remember why you're here. And most importantly, remember that you're not alone. You have each other." As Sarah looked at her squad, she saw a mix of emotions on their faces. Excitement, nervousness, determination. But underlying it all was a quintessentially human trait: curiosity. These young cadets, barely out of their teens, were about to face the unknown, and despite the dangers, there was a part of each of them that couldn't wait to see what was out there. "We depart in 48 hours, Sarah announced. "Use this time to prepare yourselves mentally and physically. And cadets," she paused, making eye contact with each of them, "let's show the galaxy what humanity is capable of." As the cadets dispersed, buzzing with a mixture of anticipation and nerves, Sarah couldn't help but feel a swell of pride. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that this group of young humans would face them head-on, with ingenuity, teamwork, and that peculiar brand of stubborn determination that had carried their species from the savannas of Africa to the stars themselves. Little did they know that their actions in the coming days would not only change their own lives, but potentially alter the course of galactic history. The crucible of Senvora awaited, and with it the judgment of 100 alien civilizations. Humanity's future among the stars hung in the balance, resting on the shoulders of these brave young cadets. As the Earth grew smaller in the viewport of their transport ship, each cadet felt the weight of their mission. They were stepping into the unknown, carrying the hopes and dreams of their entire species. The greatest test of their lives was about to begin, and the galaxy watched with bated breath. Human ingenuity unleashed. The transport ship shuddered as it dropped out of faster-than-light travel, revealing a sight that left even the most composed cadets breathless. Before them loomed Senvora, a planet that seemed to defy the very laws of nature. Its surface was a chaotic patchwork of environments, each more hostile than the last. Captain Sarah Chen's voice crackled over the intercom. "Cadets, prepare for atmospheric entry. Remember your training and trust your instincts. The crucible begins now." As the ship descended, the true scale of the challenge became apparent. Vast deserts gave way to frozen tundras in the blink of an eye. Oceans of acid bubbled beneath clouds that crackled with endless lightning. And scattered throughout were alien structures of unknown purpose, their geometries defying human understanding. The moment their boots hit the ground, chaos erupted. The air itself seemed to resist their presence, thick with particulates that threatened to clog their respirators. Cadet Alejandro Rodriguez was the first to speak, his voice tight with controlled panic. "Captain, our tech is going haywire. Compasses are spinning, and the Atmo analyzers are giving conflicting readings." Sarah nodded grimly. "It's part of the challenge. Rodriguez, we're on our own here. No fancy tech to rely on." Cadet Yuki Tanaka, her eyes scanning the horizon, pointed to a distant structure. "There. That looks like it could be shelter. We should make our way there before nightfall. Assuming this planet has a night." As if in response to Yuki's words, the sky began to darken at an alarming rate. Within minutes, the landscape was plunged into an inky blackness that seemed to swallow light itself. "Move, now," Sarah ordered, her military training kicking in. "Form a chain, hand to shoulder. Nobody gets left behind." As they stumbled through the darkness, each cadet's mind raced. Their training had prepared them for harsh conditions, but this was beyond anything they had imagined. Yet with each step, something began to awaken within them. A primal instinct, honed by millions of years of evolution on a planet that, while not as extreme as Senvora, had its own fair share of challenges. Cadet Marcus Green, bringing up the rear of the group, suddenly stopped. "Wait," he called out, his voice barely audible over the howling wind that had sprung up. "Listen." The group fell silent, straining their ears. At first, there was nothing but the wind. Then they heard it, a rhythmic pulsing, almost like a heartbeat. The planet. Marcus breathed, awe overcoming his fear. It's alive. This revelation sent shockwaves through the group. They weren't just on an alien world. They were on a living entity. The implications were staggering, but there was no time to dwell on them. Survival came first. As they neared the structure Yuki had spotted, new challenges emerged. The ground beneath their feet began to shift and writhe, as if trying to swallow them whole. Acidic rain started to fall, eating through their protective gear. It was Cadet Zara Okoro who found the solution. The plant life. She shouted, gesturing to the strange, undulating vegetation that seemed to thrive in the chaos. It's adapting to the acid. If we can mimic its properties. Without hesitation, the cadets began to coat themselves in the sap from the alien plants. To their amazement, it formed a protective barrier against the acid rain. Reaching the structure, they found it to be a maze of shifting corridors and rooms that rearranged themselves seemingly at random. But where others might have given up, the human cadets saw a puzzle to be solved. It's responding to our presence, Alejandro mused, his earlier panic replaced by intense focus. Not just our physical presence, but our thoughts, our emotions. Sarah nodded, a plan forming in her mind. Then we control it. Cadets, clear your minds. Focus on a single goal: shelter, safety. As one, the group concentrated, and to their amazement, the structure began to stabilize. A room formed, secure from the outside chaos, with surfaces that seemed to provide nutrients and hydration. Holy shit, Yuki breathed, voicing what they all felt. We did it. But their victory was short-lived. As soon as they had a moment to catch their breath, a new threat emerged. Creatures, if they could be called that, began to seep through the walls. They were amorphous beings of pure energy, probing and curious. Instead of reacting with fear, Cadet Marcus Green stepped forward, his hand outstretched. They're not hostile, he said softly. They're curious, like us. To everyone's amazement, Marcus began to communicate with the energy beings through a series of gestures and pulses of light from a makeshift signaling device he'd cobbled together from spare parts. Hours passed as the cadets worked to understand their environment. They discovered that the planet's extreme conditions were not random, but part of a complex ecosystem. By understanding it, they could navigate it. Zara and Yuki worked together to create a map of the ever-changing landscape, identifying patterns in the chaos. Alejandro rigged up a series of early warning systems using salvaged parts from their damaged equipment. Marcus continued to communicate with the energy beings, learning more about the planet's nature. As the first solar cycle of their ordeal came to an end, Captain Sarah Chen looked at her team with pride. They had faced challenges that would have broken most seasoned veterans, yet here they were, not just surviving, but thriving. Cadets, she addressed the group, her voice filled with determination. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I do know this. We're not just going to survive this crucible. We're going to conquer it. A cheer went up from the group, their spirits unbroken despite the ordeal they had faced. As they settled in for a rest cycle, each of them felt a change within themselves. They were no longer just cadets playing at being space explorers. They were pioneers, pushing the boundaries of human potential. Unknown to them, their actions were being closely observed. In orbit above Senvora, the Galactic Council watched in stunned silence. These humans, these Deathworlders, were not just enduring the crucible. They were reshaping it to their will. High Counselor Zixnera's voice was barely a whisper as she addressed her fellow council members. By all the stars, what have we unleashed? The question hung in the air, unanswered. For the first time in eons, the Galactic Council felt something they had thought long forgotten. Uncertainty. The humans were rewriting the rules of the game, and the galaxy would never be the same. As the cadets rested, preparing for the challenges that lay ahead, the fate of humanity's place among the stars hung in the balance. But one thing was certain: they would face whatever came next with the same ingenuity, courage, and unwavering spirit that had brought them this far. The crucible of Senvora had only just begun, and humanity was about to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. Alien observers in disbelief. Aboard the Galactic Council's observation vessel, a tense silence had fallen over the alien representatives. Their compound eyes, sensory tendrils, and various perceptual organs were all fixed on the holographic displays, showing the human cadets' progress through the crucible of Senvora. High Counselor Zixnera's scales had taken on a pale, almost translucent quality, a sign of extreme stress in her species. This is unprecedented," she murmured, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly in sequence. General Kraz chittered nervously, his mandibles clicking together. "High Counselor, we must terminate this experiment immediately. These humans, they're not just surviving, they're adapting the crucible itself." Admiral Lu Min's energy form pulsed with an intense blue light. "Calm yourself, General. This is precisely why we created the crucible, to test species in ways we couldn't anticipate. The humans are simply exceeding our expectations." Down on the surface of Senvora, the human cadets were blissfully unaware of the commotion they were causing among the galactic community. As the planet's strange sun rose on their second day, bathing the landscape in an eerie purple light, the team was already hard at work. Cadet Alejandro Rodriguez had repurposed parts of their landing craft to create a series of autonomous drones. These small, agile machines darted across the ever-changing terrain, mapping the shifts and gathering data on the planet's bizarre ecosystems. "Captain Chen," Alejandro called out, excitement evident in his voice. "I think I've cracked it. The planet's transformations, they're not random. There's a pattern, almost like a language." Sarah raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Explain, Cadet." Alejandro's fingers flew over a makeshift console he cobbled together. "See these energy fluctuations? They're consistent across different biome shifts. It's as if the planet is trying to communicate, to challenge us in specific ways." This revelation sent a ripple of excitement through the team. If they could predict, even influence, the planet's transformations, it would give them a significant advantage. Meanwhile, Cadet Yuki Tanaka had been working with the alien flora they'd encountered. "The plants here," she mused, holding up a pulsating, iridescent leaf. "They're not just adapted to survive. They're actively evolving in real time." Cadet Zara Okoro nodded, her eyes wide with realization. It's not just the plants. Everything here, the terrain, the atmosphere, even those energy beings, they're all part of one interconnected system. And we're like a new variable introduced into the equation. Captain Sarah Chen listened to her team's theories with a growing sense of pride and awe. These young cadets, faced with challenges that would break most seasoned veterans, were not just persevering. They were thriving, their minds expanding to encompass concepts that pushed the boundaries of human understanding. As the day progressed, the cadets put their theories to the test. They began to anticipate the planet's shifts, moving preemptively to safer areas before danger struck. They communicated with the energy beings, not just through Marcus's improvised light signals, but through modulated vibrations that resonated with the planet's own pulses. Back on the observation vessel, the alien council members watched in stunned silence as the humans navigated challenges that had broken countless other species. "Impossible," muttered a Zorblaxian scientist, his gelatinous form quivering with disbelief. "They've achieved in days what took our greatest minds centuries to comprehend." Admiral Lu Min's energy form sparked with what might have been excitement. "Don't you see? This is exactly why the humans are so fascinating. Their adaptability, their creativity. It's unlike anything we've encountered before." High Counselor Zixnera remained silent, her gaze fixed on the holographic displays. There was something in the way the humans moved, the way they worked together, that stirred a long-forgotten emotion in her ancient species: hope. As the second day on Senvora drew to a close, the human cadets gathered in their makeshift shelter, exhausted but exhilarated. They had not only survived another day in the crucible, but had begun to unravel its secrets. Captain Sarah Chen looked at her team with a mixture of pride and wonder. "I don't think any of us could have imagined what we'd face when we volunteered for this mission," she said, her voice soft but filled with conviction. "But look at what we've accomplished. We're not just surviving this crucible. We're decoding it, adapting to it. We're showing the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." Cadet Marcus Green, who had been quiet for much of the day, suddenly spoke up. "Captain, I've been communicating with the energy beings, and I think they're trying to warn us about something." A hush fell over the group. "Warn us?" Sarah asked, her brow furrowing. "About what?" Marcus shook his head, frustration evident on his face. "I'm not sure. Their method of communication is so alien, it's hard to interpret. But I get the sense that there's more to this crucible than just a test. It's like the planet itself is preparing for something." As if in response to Marcus's words, the ground beneath them began to tremble. Outside their shelter, the sky lit up with an aurora of impossible colors, and a low, thrumming vibration filled the air. "What's happening?" Yuki shouted over the growing noise. Zara's eyes widened as she stared at her makeshift sensors. "The planet's energy readings are off the charts. It's as if Xenvora itself is waking up." Captain Chen's voice cut through the chaos, steady and determined. "Whatever's coming, we face it together. Remember your training. Trust your instincts, and most importantly, trust each other. We didn't come this far to back down now." As the cadets braced themselves for whatever new challenge Xenvora was about to throw at them, a realization dawned. They were no longer just participants in an alien test. They had become part of something far greater, a cosmic event that would reshape their understanding of the universe itself. In orbit, the Galactic Council members watched with a mixture of fear and anticipation. The crucible of Xenvora had been designed to test the mettle of potential galactic citizens, but the humans had done more than pass the test. They had changed the nature of the exam itself. High Counselor Zixnera's voice cut through the tense atmosphere on the observation vessel. "We are witnessing history," she declared, her tone filled with a reverence that surprised even her. "These humans, they may well be the key to unlocking mysteries our civilizations have grappled with for eons." As Xenvora continued to transform around the human cadets, the fate of not just humanity, but perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The true purpose of the crucible was about to be revealed, and the young human team stood at the very heart of this cosmic revelation. The stage was set for a confrontation that would echo across the stars as humanity prepared to take its place among the galactic community, not as junior members, but as pioneers pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. Unexpected alliances. The very fabric of Xenvora seemed to be unraveling around the human cadets. The once solid ground beneath their feet had become a swirling maelstrom of matter and energy, forcing them to constantly adapt their makeshift shelter. The sky above was a kaleidoscope of impossible colors, pulsing with rhythms that seemed to resonate with the core of the planet itself. Captain Sarah Chen's voice cut through the chaos, steady and resolute. "Status report now." Cadet Alejandro Rodriguez's fingers danced over his jury-rigged console. "Captain, the planet's transformation is accelerating. Our predictive algorithms can't keep up." Yuki Tanaka, her face illuminated by the glow of bioluminescent plants she'd been studying, chimed in. "The flora is evolving at an unprecedented rate. It's as if millions of years of evolution are happening in minutes." Zara Okoro's eyes were wide as she stared at her sensors. "The energy readings, they're off the charts. It's like the entire planet is becoming one giant, living computer." As the cadets struggled to make sense of their rapidly changing environment, a new phenomenon caught their attention. The energy beings they had encountered earlier were coalescing, forming intricate patterns in the air around them. Marcus Green, who had been quietly observing, suddenly gasped. "Captain, I think they're trying to interface with us directly." Before anyone could respond, a blinding flash of light engulfed the group. When their vision cleared, they found themselves in what appeared to be a vast, ethereal chamber. The walls, if they could be called that, were shimmering curtains of pure energy, constantly shifting and reforming. "Where are we?" Yuki whispered, her voice a mixture of awe and trepidation. A voice, or perhaps more accurately, a feeling that translated itself into words in their minds, resonated through the chamber. "You stand within the heart of Senvora, young ones. We have brought you here because you have proven yourselves worthy." The cadets exchanged bewildered looks. Sarah, ever the leader, stepped forward. "Who are you? What is this place?" The energy around them pulsed, and an image began to form. It showed a galaxy vast and ancient, teeming with life and civilizations beyond imagining. "We are the Guardians," the voice explained. "Eons ago, we were tasked with safeguarding the knowledge and wisdom of a civilization that had reached the pinnacle of existence." The image shifted, showing cataclysmic events, stars going nova, black holes devouring entire systems. But our creators foresaw a great calamity, one that would threaten not just our galaxy, but the very fabric of the universe itself. They created Senvora as both a vault for their knowledge and a test for those who might one day use it. Realization dawned on Sarah's face. The crucible, it wasn't just a test of survival. It was a test of worthiness. Indeed, the Guardians confirmed. Many species have attempted the crucible over the millennia. Some survived. A few even thrived. But none have done what you humans have achieved. Alejandro couldn't contain his curiosity. What did we do that was so special? The chamber filled with images of the cadets' journey, their problem-solving, their adaptability, their unwavering spirit in the face of impossible odds. You did not merely survive the challenges we presented. You sought to understand them, to communicate, to become one with Senvora itself. Zara's eyes widened. The planet's transformations, they were responses to our actions. Yes, the Guardians affirmed. Senvora is not just a planet. It is the most advanced computational system ever devised, capable of simulating infinite realities to find solutions to the greatest threat our universe has ever faced. The gravity of the situation began to sink in. These young human cadets, who had entered the crucible expecting a mere survival challenge, now found themselves at the center of a cosmic legacy. Meanwhile, aboard the Galactic Council's observation vessel, pandemonium had broken out. The sudden disappearance of the human cadets had thrown the alien observers into a frenzy of speculation and fear. High Counselor Zixnera's voice cut through the chaos. "Silence," she commanded, her scales shimmering with an intensity that demanded attention. "We are witnessing something unprecedented. The Guardians have revealed themselves." General Krast's mandibles clicked furiously. "Impossible. The Guardians are a myth, a bedtime story we tell our larvae." Admiral Lumen's energy form pulsed with an intensity that silenced even the most vocal dissenters. "Myths often have their roots in truth, General. We may be on the brink of the greatest discovery in galactic history." Back within the heart of Senvora, the human cadets were grappling with the enormity of what they had learned. "You said there was a threat," Sarah pressed, her tactical mind already racing. "What kind of threat could be so great that it requires all this?" The Guardians' response sent chills down their spines. The heat death of the universe itself. The inevitable entropy that will, in time, extinguish all light and life. A heavy silence fell over the group. It was Yuki who finally broke it, her voice small but determined. "But there must be a way to prevent it, right? Otherwise, why create all this?" The energy around them seemed to pulse with something akin to hope. "That is precisely why you are here. Your species, with its unique blend of creativity, adaptability, and indomitable spirit, may hold the key to solving this ultimate puzzle." Marcus, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. "But we're just cadets. How can we possibly tackle something so cosmic?" "You will not be alone," The Guardians assured them. The knowledge of countless civilizations is at your disposal. And now you must forge an alliance with those who have long watched from afar. With another flash of light, the cadets found themselves back on the surface of Senvora, but they were not alone. Around them stood representatives of the Galactic Council, their alien features a mix of awe, fear, and curiosity. High Counselor Zixnera approached Sarah, her movements cautious but filled with a newfound respect. "Captain Chen," she began, her voice trembling slightly, "on behalf of the Galactic Council, I extend our deepest apologies. We had no idea of the true nature of the Crucible." Sarah, still processing everything they had learned, nodded solemnly. "Neither did we, Counselor. But now, it seems, we have a shared purpose." Admiral Lumen floated forward, his energy form pulsing with excitement. "The Guardians have chosen humanity to lead us into a new era. The question is, are you ready for such a monumental task?" The human cadets exchanged glances. In that moment, they were no longer just representatives of Earth. They stood as envoys of all humanity, faced with a challenge that would determine the fate of the entire universe. Sarah squared her shoulders, her voice filled with determination, as she addressed both her team and the assembled alien representatives. "We came here to prove humanity's worth to join the galactic community. Instead, we've been entrusted with the greatest mission in the history of existence." She paused, a hint of a smile playing on her lips. "Well, I say bring it on." A cheer went up from the human cadets, their enthusiasm infectious. Even the alien representatives found themselves caught up in the moment, their disparate physiologies expressing a shared sense of hope and determination. As the unlikely alliance began to form between humans and the various alien species, the surface of Senvora hummed with energy. The Guardians had set the stage, but it would be up to this diverse group of sentient beings to write the next chapter in the story of the universe. The Crucible of Senvora had begun as a test. It had become a revelation. And now, it stood as the birthplace of the greatest collaboration in cosmic history. Humanity, in all its audacious glory, was about to embark on its most ambitious journey yet, a quest to outsmart the very laws of physics and secure a future for all life in the universe. A new era of cooperation. The landscape of Senvora had transformed once again, but this time it wasn't shifting into a new hostile environment. Instead, the planet seemed to be accommodating its new diverse inhabitants. Structures of impossible geometries rose from the ground, providing shelter and work areas for the assembled team of humans and aliens. At the center of it all stood Captain Sarah Chen, surrounded by her cadets and the leaders of the Galactic Council. The air buzzed with a mixture of excitement and trepidation as they all grappled with the monumental task ahead. "All right," Sarah began, her voice carrying the weight of their newfound responsibility. "We've been entrusted with the future of the universe. Where do we even begin?" High Counselor Zixnera's scales shimmered thoughtfully. "Perhaps we start by pooling our knowledge. Each of our civilizations has tackled the question of entropy in our own way. Together, we might find new perspectives." Admiral Lumen's energy form pulsed in agreement. "Indeed, the Guardians have provided us with access to the knowledge of countless extinct civilizations. We must learn from their successes and failures." As if on cue, holographic displays sprang to life around them, filled with equations, diagrams, and concepts that pushed the boundaries of known physics. The human cadets and alien scientists alike found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information. It was Cadet Alejandro Rodriguez who broke the stunned silence. This is incredible, but it's also just data. We need to find a way to process it, to see the patterns." Zara Okoro's eyes lit up. "What if we use Senvora itself? The planet is essentially a giant, living supercomputer. We could use it to run simulations, test theories on a cosmic scale." The alien representatives exchanged looks of surprise and admiration. General Kras, who had been skeptical of the humans from the start, clicked his mandibles in what might have been approval. "Impressive thinking, young one. but the computational power required to simulate universe-wide phenomena. It's beyond anything we've ever attempted. Yuki Tanaka stepped forward, her usual shyness replaced by fierce determination. Then we scale up. We've seen how Xenvora can transform itself. What if we could expand its computational capacity to encompass the entire solar system? The audacity of the idea left even the most seasoned alien scientists speechless. But before anyone could voice doubts, the ethereal presence of the Guardians manifested around them. Young ones, the collective voice of the Guardians resonated. Your ambition mirrors that of our creators. We will guide you in the expansion of Xenvora's capabilities. But be warned, the path ahead is fraught with danger. The very forces you seek to understand may resist your efforts. Sarah nodded solemnly. We understand the risks. But the alternative, sitting idly by while the universe winds down to heat death, that's not an option. And so began the greatest scientific endeavor in the history of the cosmos. Human ingenuity and adaptability merged with the vast knowledge and resources of the Galactic Council. Xenvora, guided by the ancient wisdom of the Guardians, began to extend its computational reach across the solar system. Months passed, then years. The original human cadets, once novices thrust into an alien world, had become leaders in their own right. Each had found their niche in the grand project. Alejandro Rodriguez led a team developing new algorithms to process the vast amounts of data they were gathering. His unorthodox approaches, combining human intuition with alien logic systems, led to breakthroughs that redefined the field of computational cosmology. Yuki Tanaka worked tirelessly with xenobiologists from a dozen different species, studying the living components of Xenvora. Her research into adaptive biological computing opened up entirely new avenues for data storage and processing. Zara Okoro found herself at the forefront of a new field of science, one that blended physics, biology, and computer science in ways never before imagined. Her theories on living mathematics challenged fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality itself. Marcus Green, with his unique ability to communicate with the energy beings of Xenvora, became a vital link between the physical and computational aspects of their work. His insights into nonlinear, multidimensional thinking pushed their research into realms once thought to be purely theoretical. And at the heart of it all, Captain Sarah Chen coordinated the efforts of this unprecedented coalition. Her leadership style, blending human adaptability with the best practices of 100 alien cultures, became a model for cooperation across the galaxy. As their work progressed, the team began to see glimmers of hope. Simulations showed possible ways to locally reverse entropy, to create pockets of order in the encroaching chaos of the universe. But with each breakthrough came new challenges, new questions that demanded answers. 10 years into the project, as the team celebrated yet another milestone, Sarah found a quiet moment to reflect. She stood at a viewport, gazing out at the transformed solar system. Where once there had been barren planets and empty space, now there was a vast, interconnected network of computational nodes, all working in concert to solve the greatest puzzle in existence. High Counselor Zixnera approached, her movements now familiar and almost human-like after years of close cooperation. Credit for your thoughts, Captain Chen. Sarah smiled, the weight of her responsibility evident in her eyes. I was just thinking about how far we've come. When we first set foot on Xenvora, we were just cadets trying to prove humanity's worth. Now you stand as equal partners in the most important task the universe has ever known. Zixnera finished. Your species has more than proven its worth, Sarah. You've given the galaxy something it had almost lost: hope. As if to punctuate her words, a brilliant flash of light erupted from one of the nearby computational nodes. Alerts began to sound, and the viewport was suddenly filled with the excited faces of human and alien researchers alike. Captain Chen, High Counselor. Alejandro's voice crackled over the comm system, excitement evident in every word. We've done it. The latest simulation. It worked. We found a way to create a sustainable negentropy field. The implications were staggering. It wasn't a complete solution to the heat death of the universe, not yet, but it was proof that the laws of thermodynamics could be bent, if not broken entirely. It was a beacon of hope in the face of cosmic inevitability. As celebrations erupted across the solar system and beyond, Sarah felt a presence that had become familiar over the years. The Guardians manifested, their energy suffusing the space around her and Sixnera. "You have taken the first step on a journey of cosmic significance," the Guardians intoned. "The road ahead remains long and fraught with challenges, but you have proven that, together, there is no obstacle too great to overcome." Sarah nodded, her voice filled with determination. "We won't let you down. We won't let the universe down." As the celebrations continued around them, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the journey that had brought them to this point. What had begun as a simple survival test had become a quest to save existence itself. Humanity, once a small, isolated species on a tiny blue planet, now stood shoulder to shoulder, or appendage to appendage, with the greatest minds in the galaxy. The crucible of Sanvora had forged more than just survivors. It had created a team capable of reshaping the very fabric of the cosmos. As Sarah looked out at the fruits of their labor, the vast computational network that spanned the solar system, the diverse beings working in harmony towards a common goal, she felt a swell of pride. This was humanity's true strength, not just their adaptability or their ingenuity, but their ability to unite, to inspire, to bring out the best in those around them. In facing the greatest challenge imaginable, they had ushered in a new era of cooperation, one that spanned the stars and defied the very laws of nature. As the first light of a new day dawned on Sanvora, it symbolized more than just the passage of time. It was the dawn of a new age for the entire universe, one where the combined efforts of countless species would work tirelessly to ensure that this light, and all the life it sustained, would never fade into the cold, entropic night. The journey was far from over, but with each passing moment, with each new discovery and breakthrough, the future grew brighter. Humanity had not just found its place among the stars, it had become a beacon of hope for all of creation.